So it's been decided I should do some YouTube videos. I'm calling it Watch Your Head. Partly because every time we seem to move in this place, I was bashing a finger or a toe of our heads, especially on the windows on the outside. We moved into our 21 Globetrotter, which is 27 feet long, May 31st, our silver anniversary. And although we chose to do this, it's not been quite what we thought it was. Nothing ever is, right? And in the time frame, I've retired July 6th, and we have decided to share some of our experience. My name's Diane Stapleton. My husband's name is Paul. And we made this decision fairly quickly once we realized that keeping our house was going to be too expensive on retirement. So in the process of shaking down the trailer, we've shaken down our relationship too. If you think about your relationship with your spouse, how much time have you actually spent with them on a daily basis? You might spend an hour in the morning, a couple in the evening, go to bed, a quick peck in the morning, and it starts all over again. You might see each other on the weekend if you're lucky for a few hours because there's chores and grocery and laundry. And if you've got kids, you're running around to games and concerts and all that stuff. So we figured out in about 25 years of marriage, 26 knowing each other, we probably spent actually 8 years total time together. So being together this much has tested us. There are times when we just really need our space and there isn't any. We had a house that we could separate during the day, or if someone needed to have some alone time, it was easier, but in our garden and all that stuff. But I don't know. It's been lovely in many ways. We decided to turn the twin beds into a king, which has helped us feel more comfortable together, even though for 15 years we had separate bedrooms for the most part. Mentally speaking, thus the watch your head, we've been tripping out. We've been coming up against some old wounds in our life, things between us that we never really processed because life drags you around by the tender parts. And it's not a vacation all the time. It is a lifestyle, as they've said. I must say that I got a lot of good ideas and insight into what this lifestyle would be like. We researched the bejesus out of it, and several blogs, Airstream Nuts and Bolts, they were nice people. There's a couple called Wonder Local that's recently had a baby, and the things they've been going through before they had the baby, when they were pregnant. And then Living in Beauty is the Beechams or Beauchamp, are a couple out of California that have been doing this for over 6 years. It's livinginbeauty.net. You really have to read their blog and see her photos. Carmen's photos are lovely. And then I recently met someone named Sheila Fuller, who is a full-time photographer living in RV, not an Airstream, but an RV. And we hit it off the day we picked up our trailer. Her and I hit it off. And it's a philosophy as well as a lifestyle. We feel... Well, here's something I thought about a few weeks ago. And it's said that in indigenous cultures of Alaska, when the elderly got to a point, they would put themselves on an ice floe. And my mother used to always joke about, oh, just put me on an ice floe and I'll just go away, so I'm not a bother to take up too much resources. And in some way I feel like this Airstream is sort of that, like an ice flow. I'm 60, going to be 65. My husband's 61. We are still of a working age, but we could see that our future would be nothing but working ourselves to death for debt. And it just, we just couldn't see ourselves doing that. One of the things is our first date was hiking in the Wichita Mountains, our very first date. And we realized that that's one of the things we absolutely love. So doing what we loved is important. It's one of the reasons we moved from Oklahoma to Colorado, is so we could hike, and we've done a lot of that. Excuse me. And but now we're doing it in all the time. And right now we're getting ready to run from the weather. The weather has dictated a lot of what we're doing. We spent the summer in Colorado. We went to Idaho to the Sun Valley Jazz Festival, which was lovely. I'll talk about that sometime. And but we had to wait because it was hot. It got in towards the end of August, early September. We had to be there mid-October. It was in the hundreds up there, and we had to stall out before we actually headed that way. Tomorrow we're leaving for New Mexico. We got a state park pass because cheap RV living, a gentleman named Bob, who we've watched or suggested it, and look him up too. And we're running from the weather. We decided to go to Villanova. No, it's getting cold Thursday, so we have to go farther south to Brantley. We wanted to see the Carlsbad Caverns, and then we're heading west straight from there and south. I get really anxious before a move, and it's at first I didn't, but every time we did, there was some kind of mistake. You know, something would go wrong. Like one time I left the water pump on, the knob on the faucet comes out, and we lose the 10 gallons of water we kept on board for our next spot. That was another story. And I forgot to turn the furnace off one time, or we'll forget to turn. There will be little things. Nothing major has happened. I mean, we blew out a couple of tires on the tow vehicle, and we were able to take care of that, but it cost extra money and time. So far, so good. Nothing terrible. We came here 2 weeks ago to see our daughter, and we're staying at her place, and all four of us got COVID in 2 days. So actually her boyfriend had had it the week before. They didn't think about it, and we all got it. Now, it's the Omicron, which is good, and I've been boosted and shot and all that stuff, but we got to spend 8 days here sick, asleep. I'm glad it was here, not out in the boonies somewhere. So we're here in Pueblo, where we had access to support and medicine, and JJ was very good. My daughter's boyfriend was a sweetheart, and we just mucked through. But it wasn't the visit we hoped it would be. And we probably won't be able to get back until, the weather starts to warm up. Part of my anxiety, though, has been colored by the loss, the end of a career, giving up our beautiful little home, all our things. I still miss my rugs, and trying to not feel like this is the ghost of our house surrounding us, that this is a unique experience and create unique memories. I'm glad we had a training trailer. We had a little vintage Gulfstream, a 2017, that we bought the day the state shut down for COVID, by the way. Got a great deal. Spent 2 summers, almost 3 in her before we decided to do this. And wouldn't have dreamed of doing this if it hadn't been for all of the research and then the blogs that we saw, other people who've been doing it. There's about, I think, 1 million people living full-time on the road year-round. There are some who stay put. I don't know how many stay put. They go to an RV park, they stay there all summer, and then they go back to where their home is, and they stay there, where their kids are or whatever. But about 1 million full-time, some because they had to, and some because they chose to. We feel like we chose to, but there might have been a point where we might not have had this choice. Well, we're healthy and capable of some of the physical work that is involved. The one thing that I've been impressed with is the Airstream. Granted, if you have a trailer, you need to know how to fix things. By the way, fixing pop rivets is one of the easiest things I've ever done. You just done. The things that we've done to augment her is we changed out the water pump. We have put in a really good Vectron solar system that has worked awesome. We don't use the black tank. I use wag bags or whatever toilets are available. We don't have to worry about that extra water, and that, you know, we just have our gray water in the water. That's been good. It's comfortable. It's warm. It's sturdy. Wally Bynum would be proud of us. We took her down the Grays River Road in the Bridger Teton. It's a scenic drive. Look it up. But we got her down that with only 3 pop rivets on the inside. Pretty damn good. So far, I have not towed her. My husband's doing all the towing. And this is a point of contention because I need to know how to do everything he does. He certainly knows how to do the dishes, shopping, clean the inside. That's, you know, I need to hitch her up, change propane. I do check her on the outside. I make sure all the rivets are good and the belly pan and the tires, and everything's locked down. I'm the second pair of eyes. I mean, there's things I can do, but I haven't been able to drive her yet. So maybe in the comments you can say, hey, dude. But we named her Meru and Ardeen. Meru is the trailer and Ardeen is our tow vehicle. And there's a story behind that I will tell at some point. I don't know how regular I will do these. My husband said that he really thought he would like to talk to people about what we're doing. In many ways, he's more excited about it than I am. It's tested our abilities as a couple. It's tested our abilities as the ability to fix things and roll with the punches. But the beauty that we've encountered and the mushrooms this summer, and I have seen, because I use a potty outside or have to go to an outside toilet, I have seen more stars in the last 5 months, almost 6 months, than I have seen probably in the last 20 years. And meteors and owls and deer. We saw a porcupine. We've seen badgers. We've seen just snakes and flowers, and we've also seen what's happening to our forests, what's happening to our public lands, where they're being overused. ATVs are everywhere. There's hardly any hiking trails left in Colorado that there aren't ATVs on it, which is a problem. You can't hike with large, fast, motorized, smelly things. The noise can be very intense. But we've also seen some very pristine old growth areas. So I'll share some of that as I go along. Part of a watch your head has been about keeping our headspace right, making better decisions, not pushing ourselves too far. I particularly get tired very fast because I tend to stress everything. Because I don't know, I'm not a control freak or anything, but I need to know what's going on and what decisions are being made. And so communication has been really important for us. And so just trying to share a little bit about the emotional stakes of doing something like this, that maybe what I say or what I share might help somebody else make a decision one way or the other. We're not so much about, hey, how to replace the water pump or what to do if something breaks down, or how to fix that, or how to upgrade to the best comm system, or there's others that can do that. My intent is mostly to share the actual emotional changes that we've gone through in the last 5-6 months. I think it's important. I'm a retired therapist, and I have some insight into some of the grief that goes on, the loneliness, the issues that come up between a couple that you may or may have thought that you dealt with. You thought, but life has a way of dragging us around by the tender parts, and there are some things we just haven't taken time to really think about. Our mothers died within 4 months of each other. Our daughter is off living her life. My second daughter is in Tennessee. I have a brother in Oregon, and we're spread out all over the place. So COVID, I think we're all still dealing with a great deal of trauma from this. People are still dying. Our climate is an issue. We have things that we have to deal with. Trying to slow our life down, minimize our impact, which in many ways a trailer does do that. Something that'll last a while, we can give it to our daughters if they want to use it. A lot of reasons. A lot of them are better expressed by other people who've been writing about that particular aspect. But hopefully I can help somebody who's wanting to do this somewhere down the road. So watch your head. Keep your ego in check. Take care of yourself. Find your roots again. The reason why the house did so well was because of us, not because of the house. I can make a home anywhere I go. So can my husband. So that sort of thing. And if you've got anything you want to discuss or talk about, put it in the comments. If you're friends and family, give me a text. And I will try to do a video for it. I'm no great beauty, as you can see. My theater days are over. I'm not gonna, you'll just see me as I am every day. And peace. Blessed be.